Aloha and welcome to Action Island. I am Gilles Gallant and I am joined by Nick Giffen, Derek Carty, and Kyle Murray. And we are going to build a same game parlay for Monday Night Football with the Kansas City Chiefs and Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to wrap up week 5 here. So here's what we do if this is their first time watching Action Island. The four of us, we give our two favorite bets for the game, but then we vote on those picks and then we decide which parlay leg is going to stay and which one goes. By the end of the show, we're each going to have a pick that's voted on. It'll be a four-leg same game parlay for you. And as we give out those picks as well, we have quick slip links that you can use in the YouTube chat that you can tail. It'll take you directly to the sports book, and that way you can grab that price, grab that line for that bet as soon as possible, just so that way we get the best odds and the best price. So that's the way it's going to go. And Kyle, you're coming off of first off, Kyle, I just want to say Action Playbook Live, you were on yesterday for your first time, and he hit 2 of 3 touchdown bets with Theo Johnson and Darren Waller. And again, I'm still kicking Jalen Tolbert for not cashing that 66 to 1 parlay for you. But yeah, been great work so far. What two bets are you looking at for Monday Night Football?
Yeah, that would have been fun to see that one go through the hoop, but no luck. So hopefully we can get some of that luck to rub off here in this one. But I got two plays here. First one looking at Trevor Lawrence over 9.5 rushing yards is where I found it, but we're going to track this one at 10.5 here. I found this one last night, so again, make sure you follow me in the app so you can get all the plays in as soon as possible. But Trevor Lawrence, 10.5 rushing yards, taking the over there. He's been held under this number in his last 3 games, so I think we're getting a little bit of a discount here on that number, but it sets up as a great spot for him here. We project him for over 14 rushing yards in our projections at Roto Grinders. Jags slight underdogs here, so that could lead to a bit of more of an increase in dropback volume and therefore some more scramble attempts for Trevor Lawrence, but so far this season, Chiefs are allowing the 5th most rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks and the 3rd most rushing attempts to opposing quarterbacks. So should be increased volume and efficiency for Lawrence here in this spot. So we're taking the over on his rushing yards.
Very good, very good. And the one thing too that I like is to feel like we've got a maybe 4 or 5 yard cushion based on those projections. So feeling pretty good about Trevor Lawrence. And just a spoiler alert, this will be a very heavy Trevor Lawrence show tonight. So Trevor Lawrence over 9.5 rushing yards. I'm seeing 10.5 out there. Kyle still likes it at the 10.5. So that's the first pick. Kyle, what's the second pick?
Yeah, going to Parker Washington, 15 plus receiving yards. Obviously, Diami Brown's going to return for this one. Limited practice throughout the course of this week, so that's less of a consistent role really for Washington. But I don't think that him returning automatically bumps Washington to the bench or removes him from his playing time entirely. Washington was praised pretty heavily after week 2 when Diami Brown had a decent game as well, saying that Washington has earned some playing time. You obviously also have paths to snaps with maybe Travis Hunter being limited on the offensive end because he's still playing some on the defensive side of the ball. So I think there are routes to Washington still playing regardless of the return of Diami Brown. But either way, I just think that Washington and this number is just a bit too low because very efficient player, 12.2 yards per reception since the start of last year. And when you look at the targets per route run, Washington is actually first amongst Jacksonville wide receivers with 0.26 targets per route ran so far this season. So when he's on the field, he's pretty good at generating targets, and when he does earn those targets, 12.2 yards per reception. So I like the chance for Washington to cash in this playing even just 1 or 2 catches. But again, I'm not sold that he's going to lose out on a decent chance to have some consistent volume just because Brown is returning. So I'm taking the over on Washington's receiving yards.
I agree with you because I would say over the last 3 weeks, he's been the most consistent Jacksonville pass catcher. I mean, you could say Tootin or even Strange, but Parker Washington has really come up big for them, especially with the struggles that Brian Thomas Jr. has had, and even Travis Hunter not necessarily having a bigger role in the offense so far. So, Nick, Derek, we got to take a vote. Are we going to take Trevor Lawrence to go over on his rushing yard prop? Or are we going to take Parker Washington to get 15 plus receiving yards? Let's take a vote. All right, gentlemen, which way do we go? Are we going to take Parker Washington to keep up his work and get 15 receiving yards, or are we going to take Trevor Lawrence to go scramble? I'm taking the Lawrence prop. What are you guys doing? Got T-Law, Derek on Parker Washington. Derek, before we move to your picks, what do you think about Parker Washington in this offense? Do you just like it a little bit better more than the T-Law rush yard prop?
Yeah, just a little bit more. I like what Kyle said about him. I've kind of felt the same way where he's kind of an underrated part of this offense. They've
Hmm.
been, talking him up a good bit, in press conferences and whatnot. And so I like the Washington one a little bit more.
For sure. Okay, so Parker Washington is still one of the bets from Kyle Murray, but the vote is in. We are going to take Trevor Lawrence over 10.5 rushing yards as the first leg of this parlay. Now, Derek, you are up, and again, you're fresh off another 2-0 day on Action Playbook Live with the Baker Mayfield no interception and the Sean Tucker under on the rushing yard or rushing attempts, rather. And Derek, so with your blitz projections, a lot of the time you're able to find some plus EV bets. So, what kind of plus EV bets are you looking at for Monday Night Football?
My first one is Travis Kelce under 44.5 receiving yards, minus 112 at Caesars and FanDuel is the best odds on the board right now. The Blitz is projecting 34 yards. It sees this as about a 68% win rate. And so this one's definitely showing some solid value. Kelsey, even though he's a big name, is not the same guy he was a couple years ago. Even in terms of volume, his target rate this year is way down. Last year, he was getting targeted on 25% um, of the team's targets. This year, he's down to just 16%, and that was with Worthy out for most of the year. Now Worthy is back, so Kelsey's role in this offense is just not quite what it used to be. You know, he's run fewer. He's been on the field for fewer snaps and run fewer routes as well. And it seems like this is by design. There was a quote in the Coach Speak Index Discord this last week from Andy Reid. Andy Reid said, you know, Travis Kelce gets mad at me, but it's my responsibility to make sure that we don't get too many reps in there and that we give him at least a blow here and there. So it seems like by design, Kelce is not getting as much playing time as he used to. Still going to be on the field a good amount, but I see, you know, a pretty good shot of him going under this number.
Wow. Fading Travis Kelce the week after his fiance puts out an album. You were going to have the Swifties after you for that one, Derek. I'm telling you right now. All right. So Travis Kelce under 44.5 receiving yards is the first prop that Derek likes from this game. Where are we going for the second one?
Second one, I'm looking at Kareem Hunt under 8.5 carries at minus 104. Best odds for that right now are over at FanDuel. The Blitz is projecting 7.9 carries and about a 59% win rate on this. So it's not massive value, but it's there. It's definitely some value. And a lot of this, I think, comes down to the KC backfield being split. It was already split between Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, but Rashad Smith has been seeing his role increase week after week after week. And again, if you look at the coach speak, it seems like this is by design. If you're in the Coach Speak Index Discord, there have been so many quotes from Andy Reid, from Matt Nagy, about Rashard Smith's role, saying that they're trying to increase his reps every week. They're trying to put him in positions where he can do things more. You know, he's been handling it well. And so basically you look at the snap split between these guys, and it's just starting to tighten with Smith going up to 28% of the snaps last week, Hunt only at 46%, Pacheco coming in at 40. And then you look at the game script of this game as well. The Chiefs are the most pass-heavy offense in the NFL, and they're only 3.5-point favorites here. So maybe not as many opportunities for them to run as they normally would be late in the game if it winds up being this close. So I like Hunt under carries here.
For sure. And I think another factor too is just the scramble rate of Patrick Mahomes so far this season. Now, some of that might have been attributed to the lack of weapons, but there are some times where he'll just take off on second and third down, which obviously could limit the upside on some Kareem Hunt carries. So, okay, Nick, Kyle, we got to take a vote. Are we going to fade Travis Kelce on the receiving yards prop, or are we going to take the under on Kareem Hunt and the rushing attempts? Let's take a vote. All right. What are we doing here? Because I mean, I'm gonna fade Travis Kelce here. I'm gonna get people mad at me. I don't care. What are we doing? All right. Kyle's smart. He doesn't want people mad at him about this, so I don't blame him. So yeah, Kyle is on Kareem Hunt, but Nick and I, we are gonna follow Derek on this one. We are gonna fade Travis Kelce and take under 44.5 receiving yards in this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Nick, you're up next, but first up, if you want access to all of Action Pro projections, make sure to sign up for an annual subscription to Action Pro. Access includes exclusive player prop picks from Sean Kerner, other members of the Action Analytics team, along with their anytime touchdown projections. You can also get access to our best spread, money line, and total bets, along with real ticket and money percentages. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today. Use code ISLAND20 at sign up. One more time, that's ISLAND20 at sign up for $20 off. Okay, Nick, luck rankings. I'm not sure if we're going to luck rankings direction here. We talked about some of the total in this game, but I think you're looking at a touchdown prop. What do you got?
Yeah, I really like this one. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, not to score a touchdown, but to score the first touchdown at 30 to
Diabolical.
1. You know me, I love my coin flip data, and Andy Reid always defers. And so far, under Liam Cohen, Jacksonville has won all 4 coin tosses, and twice they've chosen to receive the ball, and twice they've chosen to defer. So it's a much more likely chance that Jacksonville starts with the ball than Kansas City starts with the ball. So that helps in terms of the first TD market being a Jacksonville player. Also, both last year and this year, Kansas City has allowed a scramble per dropback rate in the top 5 in the NFL, meaning quarterbacks are scrambling a lot. And that's in large part thanks to the fact that they play too high safety looks a lot, which is one less player in the box, but also they play a lot of man coverage, meaning, you're turning your back and guarding your man, which allows quarterbacks to scramble more as well. And yes, they have faced some pretty high scramble rate quarterbacks so far this year. Lamar Jackson, hurts for Philly there. But even after adjusting for those, Kansas City has allowed opposing quarterbacks so far this year to scramble 16% more than their normal rates. Trevor Lawrence should be scrambling here. And Kansas City is also second in pressure rate over expectation. Pressure, of course, another reason a quarterback might scramble. And Jacksonville so far this year has faced the number 21, 29, 30, and 31st defenses in pressure rate over expectation so far. So could be a lot more pressure on Trevor Lawrence than we have seen so far this year. And of course, Gilles, there's always the potential for the debut of the Jacksonville tush push, which we have heard of in the offseason and yet to see, though, so far this season.
Yeah, you want to talk about coach speak. I feel like that was one of the narratives pushed so hard in the offseason from Liam Cohen about Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence, first touchdown, 30 to 1, which would correlate well with the rushing yard prop that we already have as part of this same game parlay. So that's the first option. Where are you going with the second one?
Yeah, I'm going back to Trevor Lawrence as well, and I like what Kyle did with the rushing yards. I tracked that myself in the Action app at 9.5, but I think the Trevor Lawrence rushing attempts is really nice as well. You can get over 2.5 at, like minus 160, minus 165, which I know people don't love paying the juice, but that's why it's a nice part of a parlay. That's because this is kind of a game script proof, opportunity here for Trevor Lawrence. If they're ahead, he has some kneel down potential at the end of the second half, or even maybe a first half kneel down if they get the ball deep in their own territory with a few seconds to go in the half. And if they're behind, he gets scrambles against a scramble defense that we just talked about in Kansas City. So I think this is a spot where Trevor Lawrence should see over 2.5 rushing attempts. Either way we slice this game script. And so, I'm just looking for Trevor Lawrence to run more than he has so far this season.
All right. So essentially, if what it feels like to me is we're going with a chaos pick or a safe pick. I feel like one of them will obviously increase the same game parlay odds through the roof, which is great for us from looking for a kind of a long shot parlay here. But at the same time, I think both of them are warranted here. So Derek, Kyle, we got to take a vote here. Are we voting for Trevor Lawrence to score the first touchdown of this game, or are we going to take the more safer approach and go with the over on his rush attempts? So let's take a vote. All right, guys, let's add the third leg of the parlay. We're going to get spicy, or are we going to take it a little safe? I went with the spice. What are we doing? Wow. Okay. See, this is why I like this show. Forget the safe stuff. Let's do a high-end parlay here. So, okay, let's recap this just quickly because I got a couple touchdown props that I can add here. But Travis Kelce, under 44.5 receiving yards is the leg from Derek. We're also taking Trevor Lawrence over 9.5 or 10.5 rushing yards, depending on the sports book, from Kyle. And now we've got Trevor Lawrence first touchdown. I don't even know if I have to go. I feel like this parlay is already pretty set, but let's add a fourth leg here right now because I've got two touchdown props that I like for this game. Let's start on the Kansas City Chiefs side. I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy. That's around plus 160. No touchdowns yet this year, but I think again should be a matchup where he could thrive. Worthy leads the Chief with 8 targets in his return last week. I know that he was dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury here in the Rappaport reports. It sounds like it was just more of a precautionary measure of why he's on the injury report now, so he is still expected good to go. Another thing that I like about Worthy as well is just the fact that he's getting carries. Like he had 2 carries in that game last week. I always find that they try to find ways to use him creatively in this offense. Jaguars, they play zone defense at the 6th highest rate in the NFL. Worthy last year and for parts of this year has seen his target rate go up against zone in his career. He also led the Chiefs with 5 touchdowns versus zone coverages. So I think that's one option we could take here to round out this parlay. The other one, though, this one's actually kind of funny because I don't even think we could parlay this now if we have the first touchdown, but it was going to be Trevor Lawrence for an anytime touchdown. Like he's around plus 550, plus 600. Nick kind of already broke it down, but again, the Chiefs and their pressure, they blitzed at the 7th highest rate through 4 games. Lawrence, even from the start of last year, has just seen his scramble rate go up when seeing that kind of pressure. And also from a tush push standpoint, Nick, Chiefs have only allowed 1 rushing touchdown to a quarterback this year. And how was it? A Jalen Hurts tush push. So if Liam Cohen is going to stick to what he's talking about here, then T-Law is kind of set up here for this spot. So, yeah, it's either a Worthy anytime touchdown or a Trevor Lawrence anytime touchdown for this. So, guys, let's take a vote. Let's round out this crazy parlay. All right, I kind of have an idea of how this one's going to play out, but what do we do for votes here, guys? Okay, so yeah, T-Law.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I thought you were messing with. Okay, all
We
right.
gotta get Worthy in there because if we vote T-Law, we don't even get to use that leg because we.
I know. So it's basically like I think when we put it out, it was like 95-1 by itself. But if we add Worthy, it like doubles it pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is fine by me. So, okay, let's recap this parlay. So we're going all in on Trevor Lawrence here. Trevor Lawrence over 10.5 rushing yards paired with a first touchdown from Nick. Travis Kelce under 43.5 receiving yards, along with an Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown. Right now, that's at 203-1 at FanDuel. I'm also seeing it at around 170-1 at DraftKings, 150-1 at Bet365. So a very juicy parlay here for Monday Night Football. Now, Nick, I want to ask you about this parlay because prior to coming into this show, we talked about explosive play rate and just what you were seeing from like that Eagles-Broncos game. How inspired are you feeling about scoring in this game, even though you have seen some of the data that might point otherwise?
Yeah, well, these two teams, defensively and offensively, both have not been very explosive, but we did see with Xavier Worthy back last week against Baltimore, the Kansas City offense was so much more dynamic. So I think we can get some touchdowns with Worthy. And Gilles, we forgot to mention, and I didn't know this ahead of time, but you told me before we went on air, it's Trevor Lawrence's birthday.
I know. I didn't want to put the birthday narrative out there because I thought, okay.
We made these picks. Yeah, we made these picks not even knowing the birthday narrative. So I love that even more.
I'm all about narrative street, but at the same time, there are sometimes like with like just somebody will tell me like it's his birthday. Like nobody ever tells you about the time when he didn't score when it's his birthday, right? And that's the one thing that always drives me crazy. Kyle, what do you think of this parlay here just as we round it out here?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I feel even better now that I know that's Trevor Lawrence's birthday. Now I feel like this has to hit. But no, I think Worthy is someone that I also have a lot of interest in here. Obviously, getting some positive news about the ankle being mostly out of abundance of caution, I think was very important. They used him in a lot of different ways in last week's game, so I'm excited to see him kind of get back out there. So I think it's a good one. Obviously, don't mind backing Lawrence. A lot of these these plays correlate, so I'm a big fan of it.
All right, so the Trevor Lawrence birthday parlay, over 10.5 rushing yards for him to score the first touchdown, Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown, and Travis Kelce under 43.5 receiving yards. Again, you can see that at least 150-1 at Bet365, 170-1 at DraftKings, and where we're going to track it, it's just over 200-1 at FanDuel. So reminder, follow Parlay Express in the Action Network app. If you don't already, that's where you can find a lot of these long shot parlays that sometimes we cook up. So that is all for us. I want to thank you again for watching Action Island for Monday Night Football. We'll be back here on the island for Thursday. We're going to kick off week 6 with the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. We'll have another same game parlay for our Action Islanders. So on behalf of Nick Giffen, Derek Carty, Kyle Murray, I'm Gilles Gallant. Aloha and bon chance.